Veluthampi Dalava. This film is a loose adaptation of the life of Veluthampi, known for his role as the Dalava of Travancore, where he served as a military commander or governor. We first see Veluthampi quarreling with official Kunju Neelan Pillai, as Veluthampi refuses to pay the 20,000 demanded by the then Dalawa, Jayanthan Nambudiri. What began as a quarrel soon intensified into an armed confrontation, with Veluthampi ultimately prevailing. Just as Veluthampi was about to kill his opponent, his mother interfered and stopped him. When Veluthampi's niece, Sithalakshmi, plucks flowers from the temple premises, the priest reprimands her. His demeanor changes to fear, though, upon learning Veluthampi is her uncle. Veluthampi and his brother have a deep fondness for their mother and Sithalakshmi. Upon hearing her complaint about the priest, Veluthampi informs Sithalakshmi that she was in the wrong for plucking flowers from the temple premises. Jayanthan's tenure as Dalawa is marked by extreme incompetence, widespread favoritism, and rampant bribery. He deliberately keeps the king ignorant of the people's sufferings. When the people seek Veluthampi's help, he rebukes them for their timidity. He advises them to gather together and present their grievances directly to the king the following day. Veluthampi's family is alarmed by his plan and tries to dissuade him, but he cannot be stopped. They made it to the king's palace, only to be refused entry. Dalawa Jayanthan, favoring the British East India Company, urges the king to renew their contract, even if it means agreeing to higher taxes. According to Jayanthan, the king should increase taxes on the people to alleviate the financial pressure. News breaks that Veluthampi is waiting outside with a multitude of people, requesting to meet the king. Jayanthan, afraid of being exposed, receives a suggestion from Kunju Neelan Pillai: the king should prevent Veluthampi from entering. He claims that Veluthampi is attempting a coup and therefore orders the soldiers to attack him. Veluthampi had, by then, breached the palace defenses, removing all barriers to his entry. When the king questions if he's come to fight, Veluthampi responds that his sole purpose is to expose Jayanthan's wrongdoings and his detrimental impact on the nation. The king asks Veluthampi what he expects. Veluthampi demands that the corrupt Jayanthan be fired and punished by having both his ears cut off. He also believes Shankaranarayanan Chetty and Mathu Tharakan, the two main individuals who profited from him, ought to be punished. Faced with the widespread support for Veluthampi, the king concedes to his wishes. Yet, he clarifies that due to financial struggles, he cannot cease collecting taxes from the populace. Veluthampi attributes the financial woes to mismanagement and corruption. In response, the king asks Veluthampi to assume responsibility for financial matters. Upon Veluthampi's assurance that he will handle matters effectively, he is appointed as the Sarvadhikaryakar. Jayanthan was caught in the act of escaping. The priest arrives and apologizes to Sithalakshmi if he offended her, to which she also apologizes. Seeking retribution, Mathu Tharakan and Shankaranarayanan Chetty are devising schemes to get back at Veluthampi. In search of them, Kunju Neelan Pillai arrives and advises them to seek assistance from the British. Veluthampi, known for his strictness, issues a clear warning: all officials who break the law will be punished severely. Mathu Tharakan's wife conveys to Ambikama Kunju Neelan Pillai's intention to seek an audience with the British governor, Maclay. Veluthampi receives a visit from Ambikama, who then tells him about Kunju Neelan Pillai's intentions. This information sparks extreme anger in Veluthampi. The British governor, Maclay, is devising a plan to conquer Travancore by initially destabilizing its economy before mounting a military assault. Maclay receives a visit from Kunju Neelan Pillai, Mathu Tharakan, and Shankaranarayanan Chetty. They pledge their allegiance to Maclay and offer him a valuable ornament. With his promotion to Dalawa, Veluthampi is imposing strict measures for tax system restructuring. In an effort to ingratiate himself with Veluthampi, an official provides an unwarranted tax break for Veluthampi's property. The official is ordered by Veluthampi to have his thumb severed as punishment. He defends himself by stating he followed Veluthampi's mother's directive. After calling his mother, Veluthampi reprimands her, sternly cautioning her against future interference, and then carries out the punishment by severing the official's thumb. Vaikom Padmanabha Pillai comes to Veluthampi with news that Jayanthan has arranged with the Nawab for Veluthampi's killing. Veluthampi asks about Jayanthan's current location, to which Padmanabha Pillai responds that he has already killed him. The East India Company issues an ultimatum: Travancore must pay a significant tax amount within 7 days. The king expresses concern over their lack of funds, to which Veluthampi attributes the problems to Jayanthan and Kunju Neelan Pillai's decision to renew the agreement with the company. Kunju Neelan Pillai attempts to justify his actions and advises Veluthampi to levy more taxes on the subjects to generate revenue. The king also supports his stance. Veluthampi asserts that the people cannot be hurt any further. Kunju Neelan Pillai warns that the state faces destruction by the company if the tax remains unpaid. Thampi proposes that the state declare war on the East India Company. Rejecting the idea, the king directs Thampi to go and meet Macleay. At first, Thampi denies the king's wish, only for the king to state it's not a suggestion but a direct command. As Thampi arrives for his meeting with Macleay, the latter assumes he's there to settle the tax payment. Thampi explains that due to widespread agricultural issues, the state is unable to pay the taxes, and therefore, he has no funds to present. Thampi asks for a 3-month deferral on the tax payment, which Macleay accepts. Kunju Neelan Pillai misbehaves with Ambikama, who responds by shouting and slapping him. With a dagger in hand, she threatens to take his life. While Thampi and Vaikom Padmanabha Pillai are observing, they see 2 young men engaged in a fight against a group of assailants. The 2 young men were Marakar of Kozhikode and Palyathan of Kochi, and they were en route to see Thampi. Sithalakshmi and Uni Nambudiri fall in love, and Thampi discovers their relationship, which makes him angry. When Uni Nambudiri tries to intervene, he gets a slap. Sithalakshmi entreats Thampi for forgiveness for herself and Uni Nambudiri. Macleay arrives in Travancore and insists on the payment of taxes. Thampi confronts Macaulay, leading to a heated quarrel. During their dispute, Thampi systematically exposes the East India Company's plans. Thampi delivers an insult to Macaulay, prompting Macleay to caution him about the ensuing consequences before his departure. A discussion is taking place between the king and Thampi regarding Macaulay's warning. Despite the king's advocacy for peace, Thampi maintains that the moment for it has passed, insisting that war is now inevitable. The king, disagreeing with Thampi, requests him to take his leave. With their attacking strategy finalized, Macaulay and his army are gearing up for the assault on Travancore. Distressed that the king fails to grasp the true situation, Thampi finds solace when Ambikama notices his despair and offers her help. Thampi requests that her efforts be directed not towards him, but towards the welfare of the country. Under the guise of a dancer, Ambikama makes her way into Macaulay's residence. Through befriending one of the servants, she successfully acquires the information she needs. She steals the maps and war plans from the safe, but Macaulay spots her and shoots her. Despite her wounds, she valiantly escapes on a horse and makes it to Thampi. After delivering the crucial documents, she passes away. Thampi issues an order for her cremation to be conducted with complete official distinction. He pledges that he will seek retribution for her death. Macaulay gives the order for the assault on Travancore. War commences. Thampi forces his way into Macaulay's bungalow, where they immediately engage in a fierce sword fight. In the end, Macaulay escapes by jumping through the window and fleeing on a horse. His bungalow was set ablaze. Thampi solicits the assistance of the state's citizens for the army's efforts to overcome the East India Company. The company assaulted Travancore with a barrage of artillery and gunfire. Kunju Neelan Pillai apprises the king of their dire situation in the battles, stating they are being terribly defeated. Thampi, however, rejects this assessment, claiming it's false. He points out that even ordinary citizens are eager to fight, and their sole requirement is weaponry. Thampi requests the immediate dispatch of guns to the war front. Kunju Neelan Pillai deceitfully reports that there are no guns. Subsequently, the king, anxious about losing his throne, revokes his backing for Thampi. The king laments that Thampi's actions have left him no choice but to plead for pardon from Macaulay. A heartbroken Thampi drafts a document absolving the king of responsibility for the war, asserting his own culpability, and presents it to the monarch. He advises the king to show the document to Macaulay, suggesting it as a means of personal protection. With tears in his eyes, Thampi departs the palace. He goes home to see his mother, requesting her blessings. He summons Sithalakshmi and ensures her marriage to Uni Nambudiri occurs that night. Thampi offers his ultimate farewell to his mother and family. Thampi requests Vaikom Padmanabha Pillai to assume responsibility for his family following his death, which Vaikom accepts. Pamanabhan, Thampi's younger brother, accompanies him. The Travancore army suffers a defeat. At Kilimanor Palace, Thampi expressed his gratitude to the ruler for his assistance, offering his sword as a token. Thampi implored the ruler to guard the sword diligently until their motherland was free. Macaulay confronted the king at the Travancore Palace, telling him to surrender. To Macaulay, Kunju Neelan Pillai showed the document Thampi had given him. While Macaulay agreed to spare the king, he insisted that Thampi be apprehended for punishment by the company. Pamanabhan told Thampi, who was concealed in a temple, that he should get away. Thampi argued against escape, stating they'd inevitably be discovered. He then asserted his preference to die a free man rather than live as a slave. Thampi asked Pamanabhan to kill him, stating that such a death would be prouder than falling to foreign hands. Pamanabhan refused, saying he was unable to perform the act. Viluthampi declared it his last wish, urging Pamanabhan to comply, and attempted to persuade him. Viluthampi, repulsed by Pamanabhan's lack of resolve, grabbed a dagger, inflicted a wound upon himself, and fell. He berated Pamanabhan, accusing him of not valuing his family's honor highly enough. Meanwhile, the temple was encircled by the company army, who were trying to force their way in. When the door finally broke open, Pamanabhan, honoring Viluthampi's last wish to die proudly as a free man, took the sword and cut off his head.